Okay, take about another 30 seconds to wrap up your discussion. Alright, and we're back, and I'm sure you guys had all sorts of different examples or whatever we could think of people expressing things but not actually communicating them. Now, we learn to talk really early on in life, but we can always learn to communicate better. Now, a ton of tension in relationships, whether it be a romantic relationship, parental, child relationship, friendships, whatever, comes because people have a lack of communication. A priest once told me that he thought that the main reason why young kids, high school, middle school, whatever, get physical so early, have sex or whatever else, is because they can't communicate. And so, one of the parties, whether the boy or the girl, want to show the other one affection, but they're so bad at communicating that they just can't do it without actually getting physical. And so, I guess that would be part of the reason why we're talking so much about communication today. If you guys take a look at page 192, you're going to see some bullets on there, and there's some different qualities for good listening. I'm sure you guys have had this in other classes and stuff, and so these are just a few tips, though, that are good and do help us to be able to become better listeners. So you guys can go ahead and take a look at those. I want to highlight a few of them. One, be mentally quiet. Okay, this is huge, especially for guys. Typically, a lot of times we like to think about what we're going to say next while you're talking, and so if we're thinking about what we're saying next, we're not actually listening to the things that you're saying, and thus that can cause a whole lot of problems. Another one that I want to highlight is understanding the person as well as the message. Okay, so I think of the scripture passage of the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law. You have to understand the person, not just what they're saying. Okay, I think that's utterly important. Give someone your undivided attention. I was talking with a priest a few weeks ago, and I felt like I was the only person he would have ever cared to talk to ever. He was so intently listening to me, and that makes you feel just fantastic. And so I challenge you guys to do that with each other as well. This isn't really fair when you guys get to look at my PowerPoint before I start talking. You got to know what's coming next. So, in all capital letters and with an exclamation point, talk to your parents, and I mean that. I really do. I know it's not necessarily what you want to do. I get that. It's not at all what I wanted to do. When I was in college, my mother used to call me crying because I wouldn't call her enough, and she would get upset because of that. So I know it can be difficult at times to want to talk to your parents. But talking to them is really going to make your relationship 1,000 times better. Ask them about what things they did when they were your age. Ask them about, what their marriage has been like, what it was like when they first got married. I found out so much more about my parents in the last few years, which has given me so much more respect for them, but even more so has really opened the lines of communication between us and has really improved our relationships. So I'm trying to pass something on to you guys that I wish I would have had when I was your age. And you cannot communicate if you do not listen. Alright, like I was saying earlier with expressing versus communicating, communicating is a two-way street. You have to listen to the other person if you are going to communicate with them. Alright, so, whoops, we're flying through these. Last thing we're going to look at for this chapter is family varieties, types of families, which is on page 194 in your books. They're all different examples. There's a chart there. We start with the nuclear family, also the parents and the dependent children, biological and adopted. We kind of saw that earlier in that picture with the Boy Meets World family. That's a nuclear family. It's kind of been seen really, throughout the years as kind of the quote-unquote normal family. But I think as we begin to progress further with society, we begin to realize that really any sort of family is normal, and it's kind of ridiculous to call the nuclear family the normal family at this point. Really, I would have to say there is no real normal family, just simply different types of families. And so the next one is step family, which is a household that includes relatives by a parent's remarriage. Okay. Then a blended family, both parents have children from previous marriages. Single parent family includes one parent living in a household, and then extended family, group of relatives, which may include nuclear family, who live in the same household or near one another. So all these are different types of families, but I think the important thing is that they are families, okay? And I want to make sure that we recognize that. All right. So for the rest of the day, what I want you guys to do is to break into groups. You can work in any group of 3 or 4 that you want to. Move about the room, get up for a little bit. We'll mix it up here. And do group talk. Write down, you just need 1 copy per group. Group talk, page 193. And question 3 of group talk, page 194. So that's what I'm going to have you guys do for the rest of the day. Write down those answers, discuss those in your groups, and then just hang on to the answers, and I'll collect them when I get back. All right. A couple of things here before we close. Obviously, the day you're seeing this is a Thursday, and so at least for my earlier periods, I can try and remind you there is Mass today. At least there should be, I believe, provided Father's in town. And so if you can try and make an effort to go to Mass during 4A, there should also be confessions during 5C. Also, I really want to stress that during these this chapter here, these couple of sections while I'm gone, I realize this isn't ideal for you guys, and I apologize to you for that. But we're going to do the best with what we can, and I really want to stress that it is extra important that you guys do read the chapters, the sections during this time when I'm gone. Basically, we'll be almost done with the section before I even get back, and then we will maybe take a day to review, do the formative quiz, another day to review, and then do the summative quiz, and we'll be done with this section and done with our books for this time. So sounds good. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and God love you.